Okay, now we get to our second match of the night, which again, not Becky Lynch versus who did she go against? Tamina.
Tamina.
Yeah, that explains why I forgot. It was Roman Reigns versus Luke Harper.
I don't see, and I already warned you guys ahead of time. I did tune out of the show. I must
Well,
have.
and then,
Must
again,
have
though,
missed.
this match meant nothing. And the craziest part is, it meant nothing, but it also made you less likely to get people to buy SummerSlam because these guys are fighting at SummerSlam in a tag team match, and now there are fewer people that care because they already saw, oh, Roman Reigns is better than Luke Harper because he pinned him.
I didn't really. Well, first of all, yes, you're absolutely right. Then to get into my personal review, I already didn't care about this match from the jump because I feel like it happened on the last SmackDown.
You know what it
Um,
is, John? It just freaking hit me. This episode of Raw felt like an episode of Impact.
really?
It felt like, okay, if you go back 3 or 4 years before TNA decided to just give up on pay-per-views, this felt like a pre-pay-per-view episode of Impact because all the matches that were going to be on the show got ruined somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I do have to give this match one compliment, though, that I took note of. Because, again, I already kind of tuned out because I felt like Roman Reigns and Luke Harper, didn't they already have a match on the past SmackDown? I am correct in saying
Of
that, right?
course they did.
Yeah, they did. And then we even joked about, oh, look at that, the SmackDown return match. However, because they had Luke Harper go to distance with Roman Reigns and it seemed like the match got a decent amount of time, towards the end, the crowd was actually rallying behind Roman Reigns.
Well, and
I thought,
it
yeah.
also helps that Roman Reigns tried out for the Minnesota Vikings and the crowd knew that.
See, I wasn't aware. I guess that kind of diminishes my point, so I guess I'll just be moot about that now. But
No,
I was
you're
getting ready to
still
make the
right
point.
though. You're still right. The crowd was getting behind Reigns.
And I felt like that was significant only because, like, I love Luke Harper to death. I feel like he's a great in-ring performer, and I'm still waiting for something big for him. I don't know if it'll ever materialize, but you know me, the eternal optimist. Luke Harper isn't one of those higher level heels. I think he's only a higher level heel by proxy, being so closely associated with Bray Wyatt. So the idea that people are still rallying behind Reigns, I thought that was pretty cool because it's like, oh, they're having a combative match. The crowd probably feels like Roman Reigns needs them, and then they come to his aid. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, it's really not anything we haven't seen before. I did enjoy Dean Ambrose on commentary, and I like the whole dynamic of Bray just sitting there observing things. And I don't know what the hell's going on with Byron Saxton, but everybody
Dude,
chooses to.
can I
Yeah,
say I love that not even Dean Ambrose knows why the hell this feud exists?
I know.
Cole is just like, why do you guys hate each other so much? And he just has no idea. So he comes up with some BS answer like, same reason cats hate dogs, you know. People don't really know, but we really know, but you know.
Oh man, I mean,
You know?
Credit to Dean though for trying, man. Credit to Dean though for
Well, no,
trying to
that's
make.
my thing too, is that like there's no reason. The crazy thing is the feud that was more interesting was actually Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, and just to think,
Because that was based around something that like Bray made it personal with the daughter thing, and that just completely dissolved out of the freaking view of out of the context of the actual feud.
yeah, man. I mean, to me, I was already kind of shuddering at Battleground when I heard the rumors that this feud was going to be extended potentially for a whole year.
Well, again, the rumor is that Sting is going to be joining Roman.
And that may be. And if that does happen, they get a little bit more mileage. And if some of the things that you and I were talking about in terms of like fantasy booking, if that goes down in the speculation we were doing, you get even more mileage. I hope it doesn't come off as forced, because that's what I'm worried about.
Well, John, your greatest fears have come true because it already does.
Yeah, to you it already does. To me, it's getting there. It's not full blown though. I'm still in it. I'm still in the fight. But man, when you do a year-long feud, you've got to have magic. You've got to have something special. Like I felt like Triple H, HBK, they had something special. Other competitors that would be on and off over the years. Hell, I'll even say like John Cena, Edge. I enjoyed that feud. I enjoyed that feud because I loved heel Edge. I don't really know if these guys possess those qualities to make it work.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I really
Dude, that was the most apathetic sounding sigh I've heard from you in a while.
I really wanted to muster it up to communicate how exactly I feel, because I do feel a pit of hopelessness. I'm not going to lie. But I want to stay in the fight because I really like everybody involved. I don't hate anybody. But it's like, man, why are you all together? All right. Well, is there anything else you want to say about Roman Reigns versus Luke Harper?
But John, this used to be the Shield versus the Wyatt family. It was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and see, by them doing this, you're just taking the knife to the wound that had finally healed and reopening up, because now I just want Shield all over again. So,
Yeah,
thanks for that, Dick Meats.
Yeah. I mean, this feud is obvious proof that Seth Rollins and Eric Rowan were the strong suits in their teams.
Absolutely. See, you get it. And see, now I depressed everybody by reminding them that, yes, the Shield isn't together, as if, the product wasn't a reminder enough. So, yeah.
The who?
The Shield are no longer together. And
the
so,
who are no longer together, John?
Oh, I see what you did there.
I've blocked that memory out.
Okay.
It's been repressed.
That's some strong repression you've got there. I don't know if that's healthy, but it certainly is impressive.
No, it's definitely not healthy, but I can't. It's even less healthy, the amount of depression I feel when I think about it.
Are you going to get it treated? I'll forget.
Get what treated, John?
Yeah, there you go. We can move on.
There's nothing wrong to get treated.
There you go.
All right. Let's see here. Up next, we talk about the Divas Revolution, and we get Tamina versus Becky Lynch, which Becky Lynch, awesome. Tamina, really, really just, as far as in-ring goes, probably the worst of these 9 women.
Yeah, and considering how Naomi's been chirping up lately.
Dude, it's so ridiculous because they literally stuck. Like, okay, if you were to rate these women, rank, whatever you want to do to them, as far as their, just whether it's in the ring or just overall as a performer, I think that it's almost like a consensus that Tamina and Naomi would be 2 of like the bottom 3, depending on how people view Brie Bella, and Sasha would be number 1.
Which makes it all the more appropriate, with the exception of Sasha, of course, that their team name is Team Bad. I don't know if that's just some kind of sick joke.
No, John, you forgot. Their official team name is Sasha and her burden.
There you go. I love that. And here's the thing. Like, I think I caught you a little bit off guard when we kind of talking about this show, because I did like this match. I didn't have a problem with it. I felt like it went on just long enough where they told a decent enough story where Tamina, because of her power game, gave Becky Lynch something to overcome. I like the swing bottom spot that Tamina did. That was pretty cool. And then I like how, because she went to the well one too many times, because I feel like she was going to go for the same move, Becky Lynch caught her that time, and she got her in the disarmer.
Yeah.
And Tamina tapped out. So I felt like
she caught her
match,
in like a crucifix pin, but rather than going full through with the crucifix pin, she rolled through even further so that she was on her back. And
exactly. So I felt like the 2 things really working for this match were, A, it didn't go on too long, so it didn't have enough time, to linger and become a bad odor. And B, I just like the very simplistic story they told. Tamina's just the power game, and Becky Lynch has to find a way to come out from underneath. And yeah, for that, I felt like this is a good match.
Yeah, it was I don't know. It was a decent match. It was tough for me to get into just because Tamina, to me, just comes off as so clumsy in the ring.
Right.
But, I mean, tonight especially, I felt so bad for the NXT girls because they had to work with women that can be so boring in the ring.
I know, dude. I know.
Now, don't get me wrong. Nikki Bella isn't bad in the ring, but she definitely isn't compelling, to say the least.
I can tell you right now, and I don't want to jump the gun, but since you brought in Nikki Bella, like with her match tonight with Sasha Banks, I felt like Sasha Banks was exuding personality, and where I was crushed for her, the crowd just did not care.
No.
And I don't think that was anything on either woman. I think it was like you said, actually. I think the placement on the card kind of killed them because the crowd was just so, like, they were itching for Brock Lesnar at that point. But you got Sasha Banks who can show personality. Charlotte's got that likability to her, as I believe, Becky Lynch does.
I think, as far as Charlotte goes, likability isn't necessarily the right word to use.
Maybe not likability, but I think
don't get me wrong. I'll agree that she exudes a certain aura, but I wouldn't agree that said aura is necessarily one that is likable.
Well, then we'll have a consensus on aura then, because I feel like that's a better term all around anyway. But ultimately, I do agree with your main point, bringing it back. They're working with women, and I can't believe I'm saying this because these are supposed to be the main roster women, the veterans, quote unquote, that just aren't in their league.
No.
Like, that's just
well, and again, kind of going back to that list, if you would take these 9 women, I think that the top two that didn't literally just show up from NXT would be Paige and probably Alicia Fox, honestly.
Right.
Like, I think the top three, just boom, 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 would be Sasha, then Becky, then Charlotte. Maybe, like, Sasha and Becky are kind of interchangeable, and I would say, like, Charlotte and Paige are interchangeable, too, at that 3 and 4 spot. And then right below them is Alicia Fox, and then Nikki Bella, and then take your pick, Naomi, Brie, and Tamina is the order I would go in, but I'm sure there are some people that think that Brie is better than Naomi, and some people that think maybe Tamina is better than those two, or whatever. But to me, those are the bottom three.
Right. And, I completely agree with you. So it's just a shame. Like, you and I recently listened to that Sasha Banks interview on Jericho's podcast, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
And she's just waiting for Bayley to come up. And honestly, so am I, because I'm still holding out hope in my fantasy booking that they just dump all their teams. They join up with Bayley, and we get the 4 horsewomen just running roughshod over everybody else.
Yeah, maybe Tamina retires. We get the 4 horsewomen, and then Paige, Nikki, Alicia, and Naomi join forces.
I would love that, because then it's like the main roster women who have kind of staked their claim against these women who are trying to take over, which I feel like would be a great play on, of course, how they name NXT specials. And yeah, it's just, let's do it. I want to see the 4 horsewomen go to war with everybody else, because, they're just so good.
I don't. The more I think about it, I don't. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because then they wouldn't get to work against each other.
Oh, they would eventually, because
Well, I know, but it would take so long that by the time they finally get to it, people wouldn't care, because they would have been working frickin' Nikki Bella for the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I guess what I'm really just trying to say, though, is that those 4 women are so good. I just wish they could cast off their shackles, known as everybody else, and just kind of do their own thing. I can't wait for one of them to just win the Divas Championship, which may be sooner than we think.
Probably going to be Charlotte, but I'm still holding out hope that it'll be Sasha.
Damn right you're still holding out hope, because we never give up on Sasha Banks. But with that said, since we got way off track again, this was Tamina versus Becky Lynch.
We didn't get that far off track. We're talking about relevant things to what we're actually talking about in the Raw review.
That is true, but I feel like if we go any further, I'll just want to make this all about Sasha Banks, which isn't a bad thing, but,
Although, admittedly, the Sasha Banks segment is later on.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, Becky Lynch wins.